Judas Iscariot followed Jesus the same way the others did, barefoot, hopeful, convinced that history itself was bending toward the man from Nazareth. He watched storms obey a voice. He saw hunger defeated with a blessing. He heard words that burned through crowds and settled deep into the soul. Judas believed Jesus was the Messiah, but his belief carried an expectation. Power now. Victory now. A kingdom that would rise visibly and crush oppression. Judas wanted heaven to move faster.
I am troubled, Lord.
Among the 12, Judas was trusted.
The light will guide us.
He handled the shared money, counted provisions, made practical decisions. He was not an outsider. He was inside every moment. Yet as months passed, Jesus spoke less about overthrowing empires and more about surrender, sacrifice, and a kingdom not built by force. The more Jesus leaned into humility, the more Judas leaned into disappointment. He did not stop believing in Jesus, but he stopped believing Jesus' way was enough. When a woman poured expensive perfume on Jesus in devotion, Judas felt something snap. What he saw as waste, Jesus called worship. In that moment, Judas realized their visions of value no longer aligned. Soon after, when religious leaders quietly searched for a way to seize Jesus without chaos, Judas offered himself as the answer. For a small sum of silver, he traded closeness for control, convincing himself he was forcing a necessary turning point, perhaps even pushing Jesus to finally reveal power. The night of the betrayal was quiet and heavy. In a garden lit by shadows, Judas stepped forward and identified Jesus not with accusation, but with a kiss. It was the softest betrayal imaginable, and the deepest. Jesus did not resist. He did not expose Judas. He allowed himself to be taken because the path unfolding was not accidental. It was chosen. Only afterward did Judas understand the weight of what he had done. When Jesus was condemned, the illusion shattered. The silver felt meaningless in his hands. He returned it, confessed his guilt, and stood face to face with his failure. But instead of turning back toward mercy, Judas turned inward, trapped in despair, believing his sin was greater than forgiveness. Overcome by sorrow and shame, his life ended soon after, marked forever by regret. Yet history did not remember Judas only as a traitor. His act, meant for control, became the doorway through which redemption entered the world. The arrest led to the cross led to the resurrection, and the resurrection ignited the gospel. What Judas meant for collapse, God reshaped into victory. The message of Christ spread farther, faster, and stronger because the cross stood at its center. And the cross stood there because of betrayal. Judas left no known bloodline, no descendants written into Scripture. But his legacy lives in a deeper way, in every human heart that stands close to truth and must choose between surrender and control. Judas reminds the world that proximity to holiness does not equal transformation, that regret without hope leads to ruin, and that even the darkest choice cannot overthrow divine purpose. In the end, Judas Iscariot was not the man who ruined the story of Jesus. He was the tragic figure whose failure became part of its fulfillment. Proof that light is not fragile, and that grace can rise even from the deepest shadow.